Looks like I am.
They bought a brand new trailer. Oh, you ready to go?
She's ready? Like to call the Properties, Environment, and Economic Development Committee. Roll call, please.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes. Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Mr. Beggs is excused by the chair.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Minutes for March 27, 2025. Looking for approval.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Hardy.
Support.
Support by McCormick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would there be any changes to the agenda? Any additions to our agenda this morning? Hearing none, we'll look for approval of this agenda.
So moved, Walker.
I'll support Hardy.
Moved by Walker, supported by Hardy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Would there be any public comment? Being none, Mr. McKean, Parks and Recreation.
Good morning, Gary.
Morning, good morning, ladies. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk a little bit about our review of 24. It seems like it was 100 years ago, but it's only been 3 months. But anyway, can I have the next slide? Oops, I gotta click. There we go. So as you know, Parks Commission was established in 1968, and as appointed by this commission, our job is basically to oversee the facilities and recreational and educational opportunities going forward in our parks. And we like to say never stop exploring. We get into a lot of exploration. So why do we have parks? This is kind of a picture view. It's not going to be a lot of printed stuff. I gave you a 3-page summary of each of the parks in your written agenda. So Oceana County Parks are specifically designed, go back a minute, please.
Sorry.
Specifically designed for exploring nature. So on our left is a small snapping turtle that was taken out of Gales Pond. And that is a crew of kids that their parents mostly grew up on Marshville Dam, standing on one of the old bridges. It's not there anymore, but kind of a neat picture. Next one. So here we are, Conservation District uses Doolittle Park and Gales Pond for 4 different programs. The Knee-High Naturalist is what you're looking at here. And here's an educator, a person holding a polywog of some type. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but that kid has really a good view. Next one. And here we are with 3-year-olds from the Knee-High Naturalist with 3-day-old lambs. And it's really pretty cool to see the kids react and be out in the woods. Being in an environment like Doolittle Park allows them to explore things that we can't consider in a stationary park. So swings and so on are great for kids, but when they're out exploring things, they're interacting with nature, they're walking on uneven surfaces, it creates a much better skill level for them as they grow up. That's a proven part of Parks and Recreation. Next one. So here's the circle. This is one of the camps that they run out of Doolittle. So this is Forest Camp, I believe. There's about 32 kids from 1st grade to 4th grade that are here in the summer for a week. And this is where they have their meeting place. That you can see a couple of skids in the background there. That's the mud pie kitchen, they call it. And the little ones actually have mud back there and they make mud pies. So beyond me, but I wasn't a mud pie kid, but they are. Next. So we get into specific parks. So this Cedar Point. The first one you're going to see here is actually the walkway to the beach. It was completed in 24. That whole walkway can actually come up and be stored on the higher part of the ground there. So each one of those posts are driven into the ground about 4 feet. This was a design that was done by Help with Eagle and John Warner, who was a former deputy drain commissioner. But Pete Lomborg, this is his handiwork, going forward. So if the water does come back up, we can actually take that whole structure down and move it to safety. And that's the boardwalk from the top. It's about 5 feet wide, meets all of the standards that are needed for Eagle, all of the standards that are needed for our insurance company. We have had our insurance inspector there several times over the last few years. So this is near the culmination of the boardwalk and the deck out at Cedar Point. Stairway railings, we're using a metal, as you can see, a slide rail. And that small slide rail is a 1-inch diameter, it's galvanized, it holds up to the weather real well. It's been up for 2 years now. We normally wouldn't have put that up, but it was recommended by our insurance group. And it's good for kids to hold on to as they're going up and down the stairs, and adults too. So that's something Pete made this last year. This was a donation from a local family, Floyd Johnson, I believe. Yeah, Floyd used to come to the park regularly, passed away, families from Jackson. They stopped Pete one day and said, we'd like to donate some money for a bench. Well, the bench came into a full paddock, I'll call it, or a full deck. What's not there yet is the table that's gonna be there that'll be stationary in the center, and people will be able to bring their chairs and basically have a small little group picnic, not just off the shore. And that's one of the benches that Pete built, and another bench, so that's pretty much done at that point. I constantly remind Pete that it's time that we get this project done after 6 years. He said, well, I've got another idea. I've got another idea. And it's like, holy cow. So what we added this year is that's the shelter. We put a park sign up, so I didn't get a really good picture of it close up, but it says Oceana County Parks and Recreation, so that's our logo. And Marshville Dam was a major part of 2024. The old culverts that were underneath Marshville Dam Road are displayed here. And that's the old, this is, there was a young lady who came and we were there, and she said, I want to get on the dam. And we said, man, that wouldn't be a good idea. She said, I was on the dam when I was a young kid all the time. So there she is enjoying her time on the dam again, reliving her past. Here's the new bridge. Basically, this is a part of the NOAA program. So this is the $1.1 million that Windsor Dick provided to the construction through NOAA. As you can see, it's bolted together heavily. There's the underlying bolts. And one of the questions that came up fairly regularly during construction is, will that be able to hold a full semi-tractor trailer? That's a 50-ton excavator that's sitting right on there. And that does a pretty nice job without changing anything around. And if hit the button again, Tracy, this is a little video. One of our friends that comes out there threw his drone underneath here during construction. It's only 30 seconds, so here's the guys in a little boat tightening bolts. We're told by the road commission who supervised this project that this bridge should last over 100 years. And now we're going through what's left of the old dam and up into the wetland area. And that's it. So that's after the work was done, cleaning up the stream 1,000 feet to the north. Matting is put down, and they're in the process today of putting in 1,900 plants, various trees, shrubs, and so on in that wetland area. The cattail area stays and remains because that is a designated wetland by law. This is a kind of an overview of some of the construction that was done of the bridge and the dam removal. As you can see, the strip of asphalt is the new road. And up in the foreground there, you'll see 2 excavators. The fella all the way in the back, I can't think of his name, I want to say Chris, but he buried the excavator one day in the creek to the point where it flooded, and they pulled it out with another one, opened up the battery box to restart it, and there was a 12-inch brown trout in it. So into what we call wood in the water. So we took 132 trees out of the south end of the park that needed to be thinned, so it helped with forestry practices. And they were cut apart and then put back into the water. It's done for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's a natural way to slow the stream down. Number two is it's a great fish habitat. So it creates basically small fish holes that the fish get into and congregate. The water in Stony Creek never gets above 56 degrees in the run of summer. So it's rated as a 1A trout stream by the ANR Fisheries. And it's pretty remarkable to see how it's changed since that picture was taken. And that's looking to the north. It looks kind of muddy right there. It is. But the long and short of it is the creek is now in an embedded stream. If you go north 1,000 feet where the work was not done, it's very flat and runs all over the place. So by keeping it into the stream like it is, again, it creates better fish habitat. And Saturday is the opening day of trout season. And the trout fishermen are giddy, as I understand it, the word that they used, about how many trout have come up that creek. And we've had some tree damage this summer. This was out at Gales Pond. This was about a 200-year-old maple on the north side of the road that we lost in a windstorm. And our old trees are succumbing to Mother Nature. But Dan Deneke, who was our neighbor there, he helped cut that up. We didn't realize there was a big hornet nest in there, so we called in the cavalry with Custom Tree Service. They cut it up and chunked it up, and then as a boiler, so he basically took the wood, and with the help of him and Custom Tree Service, we were able to clear that up fairly quickly. Came all the way out onto the road. The little fall pictures there at Gales Pond. And the commission members, Joe Michelson, who's been on the commission, I think 42 years as far as we can figure out, I'll just say forever. Pete Lundborg, he works at Cedar Point, as you know. John Wilson's our grant writer from Pentwater. And John Wines, he keeps an eye on Marshville. Paul Erickson, our county commissioner. Jason Lefevre is new this year. He was newly elected to the road commission. He's taken over responsibility for Crystal Valley, working with Lee, our township supervisor. Brandon McDougall is new this year as well. Took over for John Warner. He keeps an eye on Doolittle Park. We built a great relationship with the senior knee-high naturalist folks that are out there. This is a group of quote-unquote grandparents. And they go out once a week, roughly, and they walk out there and they pick up sticks and do minor repairs out there. So we're starting to build kind of a visitors group, which is really helpful. And Jeff Dittema at Well Pond, myself, and Eric Bingston, Black Lake Campground. So that's a very quick summary. As I said, I've written individual synopsis of each park and what we did and so on. One of the concerns that I put into our written is the budget funding. And I know you're all aware of it, but in 2024, our fixed costs were approximately $24,765. Things like utilities, contract services per porta-john, which we had a $660 reduction in 25 versus 24 just by asking. The Stony Lake assessment, grounds and maintenance, we have several individuals who cut our parks along with the road commission and other parks. And with tree removal, it was almost $10,000. And then we have indirect costs from the administration of $5,000. Altogether, with a budget of $20,000 in the 208 fund, we're about $4,765 underwater, which we have the money to continue on, obviously, because we do have leftover rollover money, and we can move money from other accounts. But it is something we need to consider, and the opportunity to grow our parks continually is important to everyone in this room. I know that. So that's what I had.
Two things, Gary, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Gary, when I walked down to Cedar Point Park, I never noticed the top of the boards, going down the rails, how you put the stops on there. you know, the blocking on there
Yeah,
for skateboards?
well, it's more about kids putting their fannies on there and getting slivers as they roll down there. We didn't want them to go over the side.
Okay,
So I hope skateboards aren't up 4 feet off the ground or off the top of the deck.
well, they're capable of it.
They are, yeah.
But the other thing is, you mentioned, that the bridge should have a life expectancy of 100 years.
Yes.
We're gonna hold you to it.
I'd like to say we could all be here 100 years from now.
Thank you for what you
I
do,
hope I
Gary.
can get through the end of 2026 when I retire.
Thank you for what you do, Gary.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
We have great people on the board. We're always looking for new individuals to fill opportunities. I've got my eye on a couple of carpenters that have been kind of nudging that when a job opens up or a position opens up, that we're able to possibly get them on our Parks Commission going forward. So, and we'd always like to find more ladies. We haven't had a lady on the board for a while, and I think it's really important to have a different aspect, a different look at what we look at every day. So we'd have opportunities certainly there. Anything else?
Any other questions?
No.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Well, it's department head report time. Would there be any department head reports?
Planning
Hi,
Commission.
Gary.
Planning Commission tonight at 6:30 in the County Services Building. We'll be hosting Mary Riley on the Open Meetings Act. So we don't have a lot of people signed up. I think there's about 20 or so. But Mary's always good. It's good to know what the law is and how it changes and how we need to be considering it. That's it.
Very good. Would there be any public comment? Hearing none, we'll adjourn the Properties, Environment, and Economic Development Committee. And turn it over.
All right.
Mr. Hardy.
I would like to call to order the Finance and Administration Committee, and may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. McCormick? Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here, and Mr. Beggs is excused by the chair.
All right, I'd ask for approval of the meeting minutes from March 27th, 2025.
I'll make that motion to approve the minute.
Motion by McCormick, supported by Mr. Erickson. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing no changes, I'll ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Erickson, support by Walker. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Is there any public comment at this time for the Finance and Administration Committee? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mr. Maloney, Emergency Management Director, Mutual Aid Agreement with the State of Michigan for Region 6.
Good morning, members of the committee. So what you have in front of you is basically taking what we've been doing for years, which is helping each other out. As we know, most emergency management organizations in our counties through the state are very smallly staffed, unless you're in like Copeland County. They're all small staff, so we survive by helping each other. So what's happened is the state looked at it, and Region 6 took a lead and said, let's memorialize what we've been doing in writing and created an agreement that allows us to help each other, and it also has a cost recovery component to it. With that being said, the cost recovery is regards if we had a major event or a hazmat spill, that company that had the event, the people responsible for it, we could bill and get reimbursement for time, material, and equipment for my position in that case. So, but it also allows us that we do not have to give that mutual aid. If someone calls and says, hey, Ione County needs help, emergency management help in their EOC or on scene, we have the right to say, you know, no, we're just too busy here, we got our own problems or whatever. So it doesn't bind us to anything, and there's no cost for it. The cost would be pushed. If we want to bill for my services or somebody else comes here to bill for theirs, it would be either covered under a declaration of the state or for a federal under FEMA, or it would be to the owner operators of whoever had that event. So that's where it's at. This document was developed by Kent County Emergency Manager, reviewed by Kent County Legal. So this is the final document that's been sent out to all 13 agencies we deal with in Region 6. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it.
I read quite a bit of it, I don't remember, what's the duration of this contract?
There's until a notice of termination, so
Okay.
there's a notice in
So
there,
it's a-
and I don't remember what it is, but we'd give notice that we want to
Yeah,
terminate.
30 days or, yeah,
Yeah, and then we would determine, oh, that it's an ongoing agreement.
okay, so it basically just continues
Yeah.
on until,
It's auto renew until unless somebody wants to withdraw.
great. Anybody have any questions or comments?
That was easy.
That was easy. Thank you, Troy.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Must be so
Couldn't
quiet
show you up
because
here,
Mr.
yeah.
Bates is in here or something. Administrator Biard, reappointment of Mr. James Cunningham to the jury board.
So we received a notification from the county clerk's office asking that, Mr. James Cunningham be reappointed to the jury board. And we also received notification from the circuit court judge asking for that to happen as well.
Any questions, comments?
Takes us all the way back to high school, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Boy, I'll tell you, we better get our Michigan history books out.
Okay.
Did they
continue.
print books back then?
I had him in 10th grade.
I meant when you were in high school, did they print books then?
Yeah, Mr. Cunningham, he's an institution.
Oh, yeah, plus he announced the majority of all the games, I mean, yeah.
Every
he's-
Friday
he's
night,
been
if you heard a voice, it was
It was
Mr.
him. a
Cunningham.
pretty good guy.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Mr. Biard, administrator's review of selected claims for payments and administrator's report.
The claims for payment have been provided to you. Are there any questions on those?
No?
And was this the final one for, Chiller from Boardwells? Is that the final payment?
I do believe that was. And we were waiting for, Train to come in and do a boot up of the chiller so that, they were just doing some training on that and making sure it was done correctly.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Every time I look at our claims for payment, if we ever think that the court system doesn't cost a lot of money, all you have to do is look at these bills every month.
I know.
Do we get reimbursed for some of those? I know the indigent defense will get reimbursed. for
Yeah.
it.
You have your friend of the court, you get, quite a bit, there's
Yeah.
like a 66% that you get back from some of your friend of the court.
It's still expensive.
You do have some restitution and some other fees that come back from
Yeah.
district court and
Good
stuff
luck
like
with
that, but, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So.
And I take it that, if I may,
Mhm.
I take it the new animal control truck is on the road. I see we have the topper that we paid for.
It is.
Okay.
It is on the road. I was gonna report on that as part of my administrator's report and let you know that he did pick it up.
Great.
The old truck is here in the parking lot. There's a little bit of, some things that need to be done to that back, cage part, cause the handles on the doors have fallen off and that kind of stuff, but,
They were actually working on it when I came in.
And, I'm sure Michael is well aware of this, but even though that vehicle was bought out of the county, the in-county Chevrolet dealership will still do the service work on it and everything. It's not a problem. I know that the departments that buy General Motors patrol vehicles, and that's where we're going, they will do all of that work on them, even though they can go with the county, the warranty work and everything.
okay. The building department is, they are moving, they're packing things up, getting them moved out. I met with the gentleman yesterday about the sign, the road sign, so we're working on that, so that's in progress.
Is IT done with
Yeah,
all the connects and, yeah?
yeah, she's got everything, and Dave's working with them to get them, Dave Vandergraaf from IT is working with them to get them moved in there and get them all set up and
Great, that'd be great.
running.
Greg?
Yeah.
On the sign, Tracy and I had a discussion about that. Firehouse does not do those type of signs.
Oh.
But the company in the industrial park in Shelby, help me out again with their name.
Oh,
Near has it.
yeah,
Windridge?
Pardon me?
Windridge.
Yeah, they do it. So I don't think the sign is gonna be that expensive. I think the administrator should just be able to,
Yeah, I agree.
you know, take
Yeah.
care of the sign. If
And you're gonna
anybody
do
have an
the
issue
sign
with
there.
that at all, just let the administrator do that.
Not at all.
Sounds good.
It's Dustin, isn't it, Waller?
Waller, that's what
Yeah.
Dave's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And janitorial bids are due tomorrow. We have received 3 so far, sealed bids, and I know Dave's been doing walkthroughs. I believe there's been 7 companies that have come and done a walkthrough of the buildings to check things out, and so we should be getting some more bids by tomorrow. And that'll be presented at the board meeting, I believe, next week, or the next board meeting. So,
Is there any bonding requirements for the,
yes,
okay,
and, if the board chooses to go that route, we also require background checks for any of those people that would be
sure.
working in the, county buildings. So,
Any questions or comments?
One other thing on the administrator's report, Tracy, the transfer scale is in. Joel, I think it would be prudent for the county administrator to get together with the treasurer to get the credit card system out there. You know, I believe that because the treasurer has to be involved with credit cards, so I believe that's how it works. But I think we should go ahead and get that started because, you know, with the fees and everything, we can't start charging by the weight until after the scale is
Right.
certified.
Certainly.
I don't know what the black log is or anything else once they call them to certify them.
They do, I would expect they would do it pretty quick.
Is there anything?
Are
else?
we processing cards, Tracy, the county,
right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
out there?
anywhere?
Yes,
So we have an account, so we should be able to just add the machine
yeah,
and
which is,
process through
Through that
Whatever.
account, yeah.
whatever merchant you're using.
yeah, which is why, Bob mentioned getting with,
Yeah.
with the county treasurer's office, because she has set that up in her office already. And
Yeah.
they do it in the clerk's office.
Mhm. And
Um,
circuit court. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's in
so-
circuit court
circuit
also.
as well.
Yep.
And
So we should be able to just connect
from
that out there and then,
do we have a telephone out there or any type of? I'm sure there's ways of working that out.
yeah, I don't think there's a phone out
I
there.
don't think so either.
But whatever we have,
But-
whatever we have to do to make that happen, you know,
Yeah,
for the conductivity, I think that,
I think, I would assume we'd wanna get it on to internet service.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
if,
because,
they should be available.
There's high speed out there, you know, down 20, yeah. So,
yeah, the lines are right there hanging on
Yeah.
the poles.
Yep.
So we probably should move forward with all of that because, and then, at some time, we're going to have to look at a fee structure. And I think that, when Tracy and Joel and I met with the gentleman from American Classic, they are still interested in partnering with us on the transfer station. But they also said if we're gonna do this alone, that they will be glad to work with us on a fee structure for it. And, Dave from, Ferry Township, there's a little bit of a glitch, and apparently I dropped the ball without getting a site plan out there. And one of the township trustees was very upset about it. There's some history behind that, but that we don't need to go into. But part of that was, I was dealing with them, and then Joel came on board, and Joel knows so much more about that than I do. I didn't remember to tell Joel that they wanted, a napkin drawing of it, but there's, like Dave said, there's no other place the scale could go.
Yeah.
That it really had to go, in the place that's out there. But, he doesn't have a problem with it. He's gonna work on it. But Dave asked for something that, he asked for a accounting or a spreadsheet from 2023 and 2024. And Tracy, I'll be close on these numbers, but please correct me if I'm way off. In 2023, our supplement to the transfer station was about $136,000.
Right.
You're all sitting down. 2024, $247,000. Or close to it. We went from an average of 25 dumpsters a month to 35 dumpsters a month. And we also went from, they came in with their grinder and they ground up some mattresses and some other things that there was a charge. And then there was repairs on dumpsters besides that. But I think it very, very clearly shows that you cannot run a transfer station without a scale. When I was out there, a company came in that is originally out of Spring Lake, and they have a roofing company. They have a satellite in southern Oceana County, and the guy was driving F-350 one-ton with a Power Stroke diesel in it, and he had a dump trailer that was probably a 22 or 24 foot dump trailer with 6 foot sidewalls on it. And when he pulled up the hill to get to the scale, he had to put it in 4-wheel drive, and that Power Stroke snorted all the way up that hill. And the guy putting the concrete in, I can't remember his first name, Joel, the bigger guy, nice guy,
Yeah.
real pleasant guy. He looked at me, turned to me and said, "How much did the county just lose on that?"
Yeah.
And we think about it. Everybody in business has the ability to shop the internet, and I'm sure it's because of what our fees were, our tipping fees, to use that out there, that we got all of that much more business. Because if they can haul the stuff there themselves and dump, a 8 or 10 yard dumpster and get charged, $80 for it, they're gonna pay $300 to have a dumpster sit on their job site for somebody else to do it, and they're gonna haul it. But it was just an eye opener, the few times when Joel, went out of state, when the scale was going in, and I stopped out there, it was just an eye opener, and it really reinforced to me the need for that scale.
Yep.
We're gonna, if we have the right fee structure, that scale is gonna pay itself back in 8 months.
Yep. And it's, that's not an exception from the rule. That happens a lot out there. I've been out there before, and roofing and all that stuff goes in there, and that stuff is heavy
and both Brian and Mike out there are both on board, because Mike told me, I was out there one day when they finished putting the scale, and when I took the pictures that I sent out, when they finished putting the scale in, and Mike said, "I'm the guy that meets them at the gate. I don't know how much you charge for these things. We have that idea." He said, "But that doesn't cover it." He said, "But now it comes up, it's gonna come up on the digital readout, and I'm gonna say, this is how much it is." But that's one of the reasons why we need to get our credit card right online, because people are gonna, they're gonna expect it, but they're not gonna like it. And I think we'll see very little cash that'll go across there, because the homeowner will pay cash.
Sure,
But everything else, if you're in business, you're gonna pay with a
the
credit card
majority of them
because
are gonna pay with credit cards, yeah.
you're gonna pay with a credit card because you wanna keep track of the accounts.
Fantastic.
Joel, I didn't mean to cut you off on that. You know, I know you've done most of the work out there, but
Couple things that my goal would be after being out there looking around, and I think the commissioners would support, and I mentioned it to you already, but when we do this policy change with our pricing, we need to go to no liquids. We're not gonna accept any kind of liquid. No motor oil, no antifreeze. Those bulk, get rid of that bulk tank, get rid of that shed. The other thing that we need to do is clean up that whole site. All the debris will be gone, which is gonna be initial cost up front, but clean up the whole site. Going forward, nothing goes on the ground. If we don't have a tub, we close the gate. We're full, we're closed until the tubs get empty. I don't know, Tracy, do you know how much we spent on grinding those mattresses? You know what that invoice was?
Not individually, no, I don't.
That was a chunk of money,
Yes,
and they had them all cleaned up, and it wasn't a month later, there's a pile of mattresses. We can't have that. When the mattress comes in, goes in the dumpster, when the dumpster's full, we close the gate.
Makes sense.
well, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
That if we have a transfer station, it's gonna have to be run like a business. The end of the whole story. It's going to be you know, we can't expect our taxpayers to supplement somebody's private business, and you know that I know just about all of these contractors, but we can't expect our taxpayer to supplement the contractors $250,000 a year.
Right.
That's not,
No,
that's
it's
not
just
fair.
out of line.
It's not right at all.
And it's just too much of a mess out there. You know, there's no reason to run it that way. We can square that way and keep it that way.
Yeah. And Joel, did you also wanna mention about the equipment out there?
That tractor, we have a tractor backhoe out there, which is, it's in rough condition, and I don't think that we'd wanna foot the bill to get it back to the condition it needs to be. So I think what we should do is part ways with that machine and then hire out our snow plowing, just like we do other facilities. You know, like we get quotes to have different snow plowing done. I think we just need to add that transfer station on the list for snow removal. And then, we can talk to Classic about it, but what, we do in Dalton Township at the transfer station is, when those dumpsters get filled, we take a loader over there and crunch them down. You can't damage the dumpsters, otherwise you're gonna get billed for the dumpsters.
right.
But we do it on a regular basis, and so I think that's something we could consider doing, out there as well, is just hire a contractor, come with a loader once a week or whatever, however often we need to do it, and just crunch them down. We don't want the dumpsters to be overweight, but we're paying the trucking fee no matter what they weigh,
Right.
so we want them to be full, because, you know, otherwise we're losing money on the trucking, so.
You know what the maximum weight is on those dumpsters? The
No, it depends on the
transport?
truck hauling it,
Yeah.
you know, but, yeah, I'm not sure what their load limit is with the rigs they're hauling.
Do they go to Coopersville, Joel?
I think they're going to Muskegon with it.
Okay. So they probably go right out and go down Maple Island Road.
Yeah.
Probably.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
Chairman, did they, the Ferry Township had requested a copy of the site map. I did not have one with regards to the scale yet, but it was are they happy? No, I provided that to them. Were they not happy with the map that was provided?
The supervisor told me don't get real concerned about this.
Okay,
And you know, you're talking to the wrong guy. You're talking to the wrong guy.
Okay.
Look to the left, because
Okay.
I messed
Jump
up
down
once.
the wall.
I messed up once. I'm not gonna get into this one.
Alright. Okay.
I didn't get any feedback on it, but I'll talk to them.
Okay, I provided, they had asked,
I
was
saw
there a
that.
copy of that map, so
Yeah.
I made sure they got it, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was just,
perfect.
that was a little sketch I made early, before I was a commissioner, early on when we were originally talking about locate the scale.
When we met out there 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, you know, there was one done at that time. And it was pretty much decided with all of us that were out there, there's only one place to scale
There
can
isn't,
go.
yeah, I mean, you don't have many options
We
on
don't,
where you're gonna go.
we don't have 40 acres to deal with.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. Okay.
Thank you, Craig.
Any public comment for Finance Administration Committee? Gary, I see you.
So there's one item that we did not cover on my report, and that's item 2 on the agenda, which is transfer of funds for capital projects. Is there any questions about that? Very quickly, what that is you allocated $100,000, $25,000 each year for 4 years.
Right.
This is the ability to take this from the savings account and put it into the 408 account, which is our capital account. So we have work that we're going to be doing with asphalt paving at Gales Pond and also at Marshville. And we have concrete work that's going to be done at Cedar Point, which has been bid out, and basically contractors have been selected as the low bidders. And there'll be some other things that will be used in that 408 account coming forward. So that's the reason for that transfer.
We're merely moving it from our capital improvement into the parks budget. They've been approved to do with it what they think is reasonable, so we're just giving the money that
And it's actually
they've
going
already
into our
got.
capital fund, not the general fund.
Yeah.
The 208 accounts, the 408 account, where it's going.
Well, I believe the funds have been moved from the general fund into your parks budget already,
Yeah.
because the board had approved that already.
Right.
But we need approval to move it from your regular parks budget into the capital projects budget.
Well, it's sitting in the savings
That makes
account right
sense.
now. It's not spendable. We don't have it on our docket yet for spendable money. This will move it into the 408 fund where it'll show up as it can be spent.
When we're gonna have time for a break here. Two of you come back.
Oh, we'll get.
Come back and tell us at the regular meeting what we need to do.
It's not.
No, it's on the agenda already, so we're
It's
good.
not a problem. It's just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
formality.
Yeah, and it was in the packet.
Now, if you want to give us a whole 100,000 right now, that would be great. We can use that. We just get this all done now instead of over 4 years. Not the case.
Thanks, Gary.
Exactly my point.
That just came in.
Yeah.
Any other?
As a person of interest, I do go out to the transfer station pretty regularly, and Mike and Brian are both really good guys. I talk to Mike when I check in, always asking him where stuff can go. But they do use the loader with the stick on the back. They do smash down. They use that to basically crush down. Every time I'm out there, they're always pushing stuff down in the dumpsters more and more. And it's a problem. There's old boats and the stuff that comes in there is unbelievable, the stuff that gets hauled in there. And I think to the fellow who has this big long trailer with a 350 Power Stroke, he was in there the other day dumping it. It was like a small semi, and it was loaded with stuff going in the dumpster. So
You saw firsthand what I'm talking about.
yeah, I think big silver trailer, and it's a very nice trailer. So, but a lot of dumpers there.
Yeah.
A lot of weight there.
The thing that worries me the most is in the back roads of the county, when the transfer station changes, people start dumping stuff. So the property that I own, we have on 48th Avenue, on the back of our property is it's a county road that's, what do they call it? It's not
Seasonal.
Seasonal, thank you. It's a seasonal road, and there's not probably a year that goes by I don't have mattresses or tires back there. And I do my duty and throw them in my truck and pay for them to be taken care of at the dump. And it's just frustrating and aggravating, and, but we see that all over. It's happened out in Elbridge when we were out there, and now it's Monona, and I worry about, the conservation district is gonna take 3,000 tires out of the county this year. 1,000 are gonna go out of Colfax. We're partnering with the township out there to have a trailer out there, and 2 at the road commission in July. And almost all 3,000 tires have reservations, they're already full. There are thousands and thousands of tires out in the woods and in various farms and so